Well, if it isn't my dear partners.
That voice! It's Navia!
I didn't expect to run into you guys here today. Are you headed somewhere?
How about you, Navia? Are you still busy rebuilding Poisson?
We've wrapped up most of the rebuilding, but there are still a few things left to take care of. Stocking up on materials, confirming construction timelines, discussing compensation terms with families affected by the disaster. Between all of that, I've been making a lot of trips between the court and Poisson. Well, though the victims have received relief payments from the court, in my opinion, as the administrators of Poisson, Spina di Rosula should take some responsibility as well. Our financial situation right now isn't the best, so all we've been doing is signing agreements for the damages to be repaid at a later date. Though just pieces of paper now, they demonstrate our commitment. They're necessary to restore the people's faith in us.
Whoa! Spoken like a true president! You're a really responsible leader. That must be taking up most of your time, though, right?
Oh, you bet. Between that and all the other errands I have to run at the court, I'm always forgetting one thing or another. So before I came over this time, I took a page from Melusa's book and decided to make a list of everything. This way, it's easy to see which tasks you haven't checked off. And then, since Melus loved using shorthand, I decided to also follow his example and come up with some shorthand of my own. But after running a few errands in the city, I'm kind of struggling to even read my own handwriting anymore.
That does sound like you, all right. So what kind of shorthand did you use?
Oh, wanna take a look?
Let Paimon see! Wait, there's nothing here but a bunch of weird symbols. This looks like a piece of kelp wrapped around a stick. And this other one, is it supposed to be a boar in a box?
The first one has to do with confirming the final payment amount for the fishermen, while the second one is a reminder to try the new burger that just hit the market.
Okay, Paimon can definitely see how you might forget what each of these mean.
Thank you for your advice. These are the kinds of things you only really figure out once you've tried them out yourself. I thought that as long as I understood my shorthand when I came up with it, I'd be sure to remember the symbols when I looked at them later. Unfortunately, I've definitely proven myself wrong.
Well, now you know for next time.
Anyway, I should have already taken care of most of the things on the list. There are still a few symbols that I can't decipher, but I don't think they're anything too super important. Worst comes to worst, I'll just make another trip.
Ah, so you're going to head back now?
Yep, that's the plan. Oh, actually, since we talked about the reconstruction earlier, want to come with me and check out the town for yourself? You said you don't have any plans, right? So we can just catch a boat and head over. It won't take long at all.
It's a bit sudden, but Paimon doesn't see why not. What do you think, Traveler?
Then let's go. We'll take a boat over.
Oh, you mean the Aquabus, right? Like the Clementine line?
Oh, sorry. I meant our own boat. The Aquabus doesn't have a station near Poisson, so we'll use one of the Spina's boats. All right, follow me. I'll take you there. The engineer is still doing a few routine safety checks. We can head out as soon as we get the green light.
So, Paimon has always wanted to ask. The 3 Aquabus lines are all named after people in your family, right?
Yeah, that's right. Callus and Navia are self-explanatory, while Clementine was the name that my mother went by.
If you provided the Mora to build the lines, then why isn't there even a dedicated line to Poisson? Spina di Rosula built all the lines, yet you still have to take a special boat just to go home. Paimon doesn't get it.
Well, what I heard is that most of our businesses don't actually use Poisson as a hub, so there was no real reason to build a line straight to Poisson. You are right that it is a bit strange, though. If you've already committed to build 3 lines, why not just add a 4th?
Yeah, that's what Paimon's saying. The Aquabus is so convenient, it's really a huge shame.
Well, it is what it is. You know what my father was like. Even I often struggled to figure out what was going on in his head. But that would only be the case if he cared about what others thought. My father was always really stubborn. Once he made up his mind, good luck getting him to change it. From what I've heard, the rights of all the other members of the Spina only went as far as giving him advice or suggestions, and no farther. That included my mother, too.
Huh. Well, that explains why you weren't on the greatest of terms with him.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't just let him keep getting his way. He was just... not very agreeable.
Boss, the boat's ready. We can head out.
All right, then let's head out. It'll be a while before we get to Poisson. Let's keep talking.
Navia, what was your mother like as a person? Oh, Paimon's sorry. She totally forgot that you mentioned before that she passed away during childbirth, so you probably don't remember her at all.
That's all right. I've heard many stories about her from the rest of the Spina. They've always said that they were sure we would have gotten along while my papa was stiff like a board. My mother was supposedly super cheerful and funny. Their complementary personalities allowed them to make up for each other's flaws. My father would run the businesses and expand our reach, while my mother would keep the peace and make sure that everyone was happy. Their work made sure that the Spina could grow and thrive.
Sounds like they were not just a well-matched couple, but fantastic business partners as well.
Yeah, but those are just stories and anecdotes after all. It's hard for me to piece together a more complete or intimate picture of her. But sometimes, I'd still look at the Clementine line and wonder, would the Spina and Poisson still be what they are today had my mother survived? Silver once said that a name is a kind of inscription, a way to etch a memory into the world. When given a name, a cold, inanimate object can gain a completely new meaning. So, I will always associate the line with her in my heart. Over the past few weeks, I've also begun to appreciate how water can take in and hold our most intense feelings and memories. as well as how one may reflect on their past by watching the sea. I've lost many beloved people and memories to the sea. Even though I cannot stop for them and must continue to keep moving, the fact won't change that they existed in my life and gave me the reason and motivation to move forward. Always. But no matter what, we can't change the past. But I tell myself that I need to keep looking towards the future. Everyone, even my parents, have already overcome so many obstacles. Besides, I'm the president of Spina di Rosula. I've got to keep my chin up. Ah, we've reached the shore. Let's go. I'll show you the new Poisson.
Navia, do you think she's doing all right? Okay, Paimon supposes you're right. She's really been through a lot. It couldn't have been easy shouldering so much by herself.
If only it could cleanse the corrupt souls of this world.
Boss, you're back! Traveler and Paimon, welcome back to Poisson.
Oh, hey! Fancy seeing you again, Florent. Is it your turn to take care of Navia now?
Hey, I can totally take care of myself. For the time being, I'll go around without any attendance. We did hand over some of Malus's old responsibilities to Florent, though. It's been really nice to have him around to help out.
Thank you for the compliment, boss. As you see, I've been working closely with the boss on rebuilding Poisson. Mr. Malus was an extremely capable and respected member of the Spina. I've got some really big shoes to fill.
All right. There's no need to be so formal. Everyone's practically old friends by now. Were you waiting here for me? Did we manage to make any progress on the statue?
Yeah, we contacted a sculptor about the job, but they can't get started on sourcing a correctly sized block without knowing the design that we want to use first.
You're commissioning a statue?
So basically, we've been meaning to commission a statue of my parents in commemoration of everything they've done for the Spina and the town of Poisson. But since my father was known as callously unfaithful for the longest time, it would have been too controversial to commission a statue of him. But now that his name has been cleared, and the town is also being rebuilt, I thought this would be the perfect chance to actually realize this dream.
The funds to build the statue were freely donated by the people of Poisson to show their appreciation for Miss Clementine and Mr. Callus and everything they did.
Me? I'm just the newbie president that's running around and causing everyone trouble. Maybe we can have this conversation again in a few decades, once I've done more for the town and the people.
Hey, there's no need to be so humble. Didn't you just help save the entire country?
I agree wholeheartedly. I also believe that Boss should have a place on the statue.
Hey, if you keep inflating my ego like this, I might just float off into the sky with my parasol. Just kidding. There's no way that I'd accept that kind of compliment at face value. At a minimum, I'd have to match what my father did for the people. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I just don't think I'm ready yet. Anyway, Florent, now it's up to us to confirm the final design, right?
We can ask the sculptor to start looking for a good block once we've decided on the poses for Miss Clementine and Mr. Callis. But we haven't had any real discussions yet on the possible designs. I feel like I should get a few promising designs first, and then send them over to you to review.
There's no need for all that. Let's decide on a design right now. Hey, you! Come over here with me. Modeling a few poses, of course. Here, just pretend to be Callis, and I'll be Clementine. Didn't you say on the boat that Callis and Clementine sounded like great partners? Well, then there's no one better to fill this role than my most valuable partner. Florent, let's grab some reference shots.
You've got it, boss. I'll go get the camera.
Well, what do you think? Got any ideas? Well, I've actually discussed it a bit with Florent before, but I could never come up with any fresh or original ideas. It's probably because my idea of them is already kind of set in stone. So, I want to pick your brain for a bit, and see if you can come up with some new and interesting ideas.
I'm all good here, boss. Feel free to start posing whenever.
Imposing, huh? Oh, I've got it. Let's try this.
This pose! It makes me recall Spina di Rosula's glorious golden age.
But isn't Clementine's pose a bit too bold and heroic? Was she really that kind of person? If we were to stick with this pose, maybe people would wonder if she was actually the real boss behind the scenes.
Well, tabloids did indeed speculate as much back in the day, but the Spina pulled a few strings and made both the report and the journalist disappear.
Oh, Paimon was just kidding! Please don't make Paimon disappear.
What Florent meant was that we asked the journalist to choose a new alias. You're right, though, that this may not accurately represent the image of her in our hearts. Let's try to come up with something else. By that, do you mean as if we were standing on a boat and looking out at the sea? Sure, let's give that a try.
Whoa, you really remind Paimon of a captain and their first mate.
Look over there, my dear Clementine. As you can see, every tree on that island is dripping with mora fruit.
But there's something off with the composition. This pose makes Mr. Callis look too tall next to the lady.
Oh, I see what you mean. Then let's swap.
Well, Paimon is a fan. A statue like this would look fantastic on a boat.
Wait, but we can't do that. Very few people would see the statue if we were to put it on a boat. This statue is meant to be placed in the town.
But then, since we're putting it in the town, the whole point of the pose would be lost.
Oh, okay. We'll try to think of something else.
A happy pose? You mean something like we were laughing together at a funny joke?
Would all that be able to come through with just a picture?
Would we even be able to tell what they are supposed to be laughing about?
Yeah, and that'd probably be a massive pain to sculpt as well.
Could one of you try striking a pose like you're talking while the other one laughs? That actually sounds pretty hard to pull off. Forget it, let's try something else. bunch of different ideas, but none of them felt right. Paimon's all out of brain juice now, too.
Oh, don't worry. We still got a lot of reference shots out of the session, and each of them can be considered to be a souvenir in their own right. Let's just keep the ideas we tried as backups. Man, if I knew I was going to do a photo shoot with the Traveler, I would have prepared a lot of outfits and props ahead of time. Oh, outfits! Ugh, that's the errand I forgot back in the city. Do either of you still remember that girl? The girl I went to see with you two. Her name is Adele.
Oh, Paimon remembers her. She was the one that we met while investigating Mr. Callus's case, right?
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about. So, after the case, she was finally willing to talk to me, and she told me that she wanted to join the Spina too. I said that it's fine, but young children are not allowed to join the Spina. She will just have to wait a few years, and then we'll welcome her with open arms. Since she's still a child, though, she thought I was just trying to let her down gently. But how could I get her to believe that I meant what I said? In the end, I came up with an idea. I'd have a Spina uniform made and give it to her as a gift. But I got so busy and distracted in the city that I forgot to pick the uniform up. So I did forget something important after all.
Don't worry, boss. I can send someone to pick it up right away.
On the matter of the statue, we should still come up with a few more ideas for the design. I'll have to trouble you to source some for me.
We could have just done that from the start. Yeah, you're right. They'll have some value as souvenirs at least.
Navia! Florent, guess who's back?
Huh? But aren't you supposed to...
Oh, well, if it isn't Coulter. Back already from the Fortress of Meripede?
That's right. I finally finished serving my time. Gotta say, turns out I was a lot tougher than I thought. After I got out, I immediately made a beeline back to Poisson. You could say that familiar, briny smell became a primal call, urging me to forget everything else and just come back home. You wouldn't believe how much I've missed Melissa's grilled fish. I dreamed about it every time I had to get a welfare meal down there underneath the sea.
It's good to have you back, Coulter. You look as well as ever.
And this guy is?
Let me introduce you. This is Coulter, another of Spina di Rosula's members. He was found guilty and sentenced to the Fortress of Meripede some time ago. But, looking at it now, it was probably another one of Marcel's plots while he worked at the Confrérie of Cabrières.
Wait, Mr. Marcel? What do you mean? He was involved in some sort of plot?
Have you not heard anything at all about the water from the primordial sea case?
Well, I know that Fontaine got flooded, but then the water levels miraculously receded. I thought that was all there was to it and didn't care to ask for any more details. Do you mean Mr. Marcel was somehow involved with all that?
Oh, looks like we'll have to explain everything from the top. That case, a lot of things have happened in Poisson since then. First things first, let me introduce you to these two. They're my most trusted partners, and they've been with me through thick and thin. Now you could call them Spina di Rosula's VIP helpers.
Oh, nice to meet you. I don't recall Navia ever generously complimenting anyone like that before, so you must be pretty amazing to get that from her.
Yeah, we are indeed pretty amazing. But we've been cool since before we even met her.
Humble again as always, I see. Even when I was totally sincere with my praise.
Nice. Spina di Rosula always seems to attract great people. Oh, that reminds me. Where are Malus and Silver? Aren't they always by your side?
About that.
Coulter, a lot of things happened while you were gone. As you can see, even Poisson isn't quite the same as how it was before you left.
They lost their lives, keeping me safe during the flood.
What did you say? This isn't some kind of morbid welcome home prank, right? You're just scaring me on purpose because I don't know anything about what's happened.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth. They weren't the only people we lost either. Many others, including Melissa, also lost their lives in the disaster.
Malus and Melissa, dead. They're just gone? Malus, I was planning to give him a surprise gift once I ran into him again in town. I can't believe it.
Hey! Keep it together!
Malus and Coulter were friends for many years, and even served on many missions together during the early days of the Spina. I can understand how he feels.
Let's sit down somewhere, so I can tell you everything that has happened while you were gone. Fair warning, there was a lot.
Okay.